What's up, everybody? Jesse Lee here, and in this video, we're going to be talking about why your last course launch totally flopped. There's a lot of different reasons. I'm only talking about 5 of some of the bigger reasons I've seen. Why would I know? Because I've launched a ton of products. I've helped over 107 businesses now make tens of millions of dollars online, and a lot of that has been through online course launches. This is my superpower, and I've also lost tens of thousands of dollars on launches, and I know all the mistakes like the back of my hand. So let's go ahead and jump in now on my laptop, and we'll get started talking about those reasons. What's up, everybody? Okay, so here we're jumping into the 5 reasons your online course is not selling, or when you launched it flopped. All right, the first one is you created something that nobody wanted. This is a big mistake that a lot of beginning business owners and beginning entrepreneurs make. They think of an idea that they think is great, and they try to put it together, and then they go put it out there, and crickets. Nobody actually wanted that solution. Now, I'll give you 2 quick examples for this. One was my own business, and the very first product I ever launched, I spent $10,000 investing in this product, trying to create something. And then when I launched, it was crickets. Nobody wanted to buy. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever come across. And that's not even the worst one. A second example is a business owner that I know that on their first project, they actually took out a loan of over $100,000 to launch an online learning platform, their own course and their own e-learning materials. And it never sold. Maybe they had a few people purchase for $47, but it was less than 10 people purchased on this over hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment. So if you do this the right way, you can start with 0 investment. You don't have to take out a loan. And there are ways you can test to see if your audience actually wants what you're going to be selling them. So don't make that mistake. So every good marketer knows there are a few things necessary for you to be able to sell something to someone. One is you have to have a group of people that have a problem. And that problem has to be so bad that they are looking for a solution and will pay money for it, right? The easiest example I can come up with right now is a dentist. Dentist has a group of people who have cavities. Maybe it's hurting so bad that they need to get a tooth pulled, or they need to get a filling or something like that. So that's a really good example of somebody who has such a high level of pain that they have like a toothache, that they're just like, they got to find that solution and they're willing to pay for it. So think of any time if you've ever broken a limb, you've broken a finger or an arm or something like that, or if you had some medical issue, this is exactly what we're talking about. Is you have to find somebody who's in such a high level of pain that they're looking for that solution. Now, if you're creating an online course, you're probably creating a course for someone who is looking for a solution on how to do something, right? If you're doing a course, it's probably going to be a how-to sort of solution. So you need to find people who are like, they're trying to figure out, how do I do this thing? How do I do X, Y, or Z? I can't figure this out, right? How do I make amazing kites? Or how do I get like great ventriloquism from my puppetry? Stuff like that, right? It could be anything, but you got to find people who are really looking for that solution and they're willing to pay for it. And so you have to be able to create something that they actually want. And there are ways to do this research that go way beyond this video, but there's a process called validation where you figure out, is there a market for this? And so that's the number one issue I've seen. All of my clients that I've helped, over 100 businesses, I think we're at $44 million now with all my clients. One of the biggest things when new people come to me and they're wondering, why is this not selling? 90% of the time, I ask them like, hey, well, did you ask your audience what they wanted, what solutions they were looking for? 99% of the time, none of them do. Actually, I think maybe 100% with the newbies that come through the door, probably 100% that come. So that's the first thing. So if your course is not selling, what are you offering? And is it something that somebody actually wants? Second thing is you launched to the wrong group of people, or worse, you didn't bother to find that group of people and you just thought of an idea in a vacuum and you're like, oh, this is an amazing idea. I think people will like this. And you never bothered going and searching for your target market. Remember on my last point, the first thing I said, every marketer knows that if you're going to sell something, the first thing you have to have is an audience with the problem. The foundational concept there is you have to have an audience. So if you haven't built up an audience, or if you built up an audience that's scattered all over the interwebs, you got a few followers on X, or you got a few followers on Instagram, but they're not in your own ecosystem, when you launch, it's going to be really hard to control. This is when my whole program is like, I teach people, like, you build a list of people, of prospects, away from Instagram, social media, and all that stuff. You get them into your own ecosystem so that you have them in one bucket. When you go to launch, they're all in one place. Maybe you have a bucket of people. Maybe you built up a lot of followers. You have a massive audience. If you're getting millions of views for one type of thing, and then you try to launch something else, it's not really going to work. So I'll give you a perfect example. Guys like Mr. Beast, right? They have just millions upon millions of views on all their videos, but their videos are built on gimmicks, and they're built on just things that will go viral. They're not known for a specific thing. So a list of people who are just used to watching viral videos, like cat videos get stupid millions of views all the time. So you might have just built up a massive audience of people who watch cat videos because you're really good at posting cat videos and your cute little kitten goes viral all the time. If you try to sell a basket weaving course to those people, none of them are going to buy. Well, maybe a very small percentage of them are going to buy. So you actually have to, while you're building your audience, think of what is it that you want to be selling, and you need to be creating pieces of material that get the attention of the type of people that are going to be interested in that, right? And this is something else I teach all my people. I'm like, you make resources, YouTube videos, things on your website, PDFs, lead magnets, things where you can build your own audience, and you get what they call qualifying leads, where you're like, okay, I know for a fact that this person that I'm telling about this product, they're actually going to be interested in it. It's not somebody who watches cat videos. I'm not going to try to pitch them a basket weaving course. Okay, so that's the second thing. Third thing is, this one is a little less common, but I see people put their courses on marketplaces oftentimes, and this is a huge issue. So I'm going to show you an example of this. If you go to udemy.com, let me just do how to code Python. How to code. We'll just say how to code, right? Say I want to launch my own coding course. Well, if I put my stuff on a marketplace, look at what's going on. 100 days of code. This person has 4.7 reviews, and 300,000 people have already been there. So they're ranked at the top, right? Any marketplace where you have tons of courses, it's like, yeah, you get more eyeballs. If you don't have any, look at this person, 14 reviews. Yeah, they got 4.6 stars, but there's only 14 people. Then, and you compare that to, oh, this person has 300,000, then they're highly likely they're going to take your competition and go, right? This person is going to take your customer. So you can post on these sorts of platforms, but again, I advocate getting everyone in your own ecosystem. Don't be sending people to different platforms and everything. So yeah, that's the next thing. Number 4 is you spent too much time building your course. This is a huge issue. Well, I'll give you an example of a client of mine. I'm not going to use names or anything. And I want you to know that this is something I've been through. All my clients have been through. This is not anything that I'm trying to ridicule anybody. One of my clients came to me, and they had popped off on their social media platform, and they're getting millions of views, and it was for teaching a specific skill. Now, they were not aware that of the steps that I already talked about. It's like figuring out if your audience actually wants something, how much would they pay for it, doing the research. So this person didn't do any of that. And then they spent 2 years designing and building this course. They launched a course, and there was a few $1,000s of sales, but mostly it petered out and didn't really sell much. And then for a long time, he was only getting 1 or 2 sales per month, right? But he had spent 2 years designing this course. All the while, there were other people on YouTube in his same niche that took off and passed him and were releasing stuff faster. So by the time he released his competition had gotten ahead of him. The other thing that can happen is you might have a product that's totally irrelevant. I just showed you the how to code course. With coding or any sort of software programs will make updates so often that if you wait 6 months, it's like, well, now you're teaching on an interface that doesn't look like what people have now. So, and I've had course creators, one of my clients he was teaching software, and he had released this course, and we had to go and do updates by the time he released the course because the interface was so old. All right. So don't spend too much time building your course. You need to figure out what the problem is of your audience and launch as soon as you can. And oftentimes you can do this. I've launched products where we've literally done tens of thousands of dollars and we didn't even have the course put together yet. All we did was try to sell it first. So if you can go that route, that's the way to do this, is try to sell it first. And then after you sell it, you create it. Right. So now, number 5, you tried to create your own method of launching a product instead of following a proven formula. Folks, I'm not telling you about anything new, right? There are proper course launch techniques that are proven to work. And so you don't have to go through that rigmarole. And this is one of the biggest things I see people doing, like, well, maybe we could try this. Well, maybe you could. It's like, yeah, maybe you could try 100 different things, but why not go with the one thing that everyone who's creating successful courses is actually doing, right? So don't go and try to recreate the wheel. So you got to find a proven framework that is actually going to work and that has been proven to work. Okay, so if you want to actually launch a course the right way, or you need to relaunch, or you're launching for the first time, I'm going to put 2 resources on this screen. So the first is going to be up in the right-hand corner. That's going to be the next video. This is all about how to launch a course the right way. Again, there's no guesswork here. I've done this tons and tons of times. This process just works. All right. So go check that out. The second thing is, if you want to follow along with that, I have a free launch framework down in the description. So you can click down below and get that free framework. For now, go to that next video and start watching how you actually launch a course the proper way.